YouTube! ¿Qué pasa? Welcome back to another solo leveling video on my channel. Right, today we're gonna be talking about Chae. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that name right. So, she is probably the most underrated SR water unit in the game. I mean, currently, since we are not having any pure water DPS SSR unit, right? Alice is around the corner. We have Seo Young, right? However, this character, she is crazy, and I mean crazy. She's actually been doing so much good stuff for me. Like, I have been able to clear Cerberus tier 7 with her. I have been able to clear a lot of content using this character, right? And I'm gonna break you guys down exactly why she's so good. We're gonna be looking at her star ratings, right? What is she like from A1 till A5? What are her best weapons, her best team compositions, and her best artifacts? Without further ado, let's jump into the video. So looking at her best artifacts, right? Her best artifact set is definitely hands down the solid analysis, right? This one gives her at a 2 set the effect that the user's damage dealt to enemies in the break state increases by 15%, right? And since she is basically made to inflict break to enemies, right, and break their defense, this works very well with her. The 4 set effect, basically when attacking enemies that have elemental weakness, the break effect increases by 30%. She's basically one of the best options to be using currently if you are lacking, for example, any specific SSR units when you're trying to run the Encore missions versus Cerberus. Now, when looking for main stats on her artifacts, right? For the helmet, you want to always go with HP as the main fact. For the boots, you want to choose something like defense penetration or also HP because her attack scale of her HP. For the bracelet, if you can, try and get something like, when we come into the bracelet, something like water damage plus percentage, and for the ring, something like HP again. Now, as you can see, I haven't invested as much time yet in my artifacts. This will come, but this doesn't stop her from being amazing, right? So in terms of the second artifact, I'm using the Executioner because when attacking enemies with 40 HP or less, increases the damage dealt by 8%, and the 4-piece increases that by 20%, and also the condition changes to 70%. So that is basically what I'm running currently. You can also run the Outstanding Connection, which also works very well with her, or even the Concentration of Firepower, right? So that's definitely one thing you can be doing. Now, in terms of weapon, what weapon should you be running? I recommend actually the Ancient Grimoire as the SR weapon. This one is actually a pretty good weapon for her. Apart from that, her signature weapon, yes, she does have a signature weapon, which is the Slayer's Mercy, is actually also very good for her. However, the SR weapons currently are actually better for her than the SSR weapon. Name, even the SR Steel Longsword is actually better for her than her signature weapon. And yeah, those weapons are actually very easily acquired. I mean, if you're lacking the SR version of it, obviously you can use the Essence of Magic Grimoire, the R version of it, and that will just do fine. Now, if you're looking for which skills to build for her, hands down, the best ones are obviously her basic skills, so focus on these, and her ultimate, and her exchange support skill. This one is basically doing the magic. Whenever she gets swapped in, she immediately, upon first hit, if it lands, freezes the target, and that freeze lasts for 2 seconds, right? So those are actually the best skills you should be prioritizing. You could also essentially put a bit into the second basic attack. However, I would suggest only the basic skills, the ultimate skill, because this one actually also freezes the target. The first basic skill also freezes the target, and the second basic skill actually inflicts heavy break damage. So that's basically what you want to be doing. And again, her support skill also freezes the target and inflicts break damage. So when running her in a pure hunter team, namely you want to be using this character very well for Cerberus. Now, this team actually is a team which helped me clear the tier 6 Cerberus, right? So I'm using this Li Zhouhe as the main healer support unit because of the artifacts I equipped her. She basically increases the damage output, right? Whenever you swap in another hunter, right? Then on second spot is Nam Chae, and on third spot Seo Jiwoo. And these two actually work so well with one each other, right? These two actually have such a good synergy with each other because both of them inflict break damage, and Nam Chae is basically able to inflict freeze on top of that, right? So combining break and freeze together, you will be able to immobilize your opponents quite often. Now looking at her best dupes, right? If you're looking for the best dupes for this character, you essentially want to look at what the dupes does. Now, the best one, obviously, or the best thing for her is obviously advancing her as far as possible. Because she's an SR unit, she doesn't really have the hacks as many SSR units. However, if you have a 5-star, she becomes amazing. Let's break it down. Now, the first dupe basically increases the user's break efficiency by 20%. So she actually does effectiveness increased by 20% in terms of her break damage. The second dupe increases her HP by 6%, which is nice because her attacks are scaling off her HP. The third dupe actually increases the damage of a light freezing arrow, which is this skill. This one gets actually increased by the, no wait, is it this one? Ice grenade, where is it? Light freezing arrow, this one. The ultimate skill actually gets increased by 80%. Are we talking 80% just of her third dupe? Her fourth dupe increases the explosion range of K63, the ice grenade, icy step, tip of the iceberg by 20%. So basically the K63 ice grenade, this skill, the icy step, and which one was it also? The tip of the iceberg, this one, the QTE skill. Now, I wouldn't really recommend generally, well, you could actually go ahead and build this one up, but not necessarily that necessary. Again, I would always suggest building up the basic skills for her because she just works so well. Now, the last dupe, this is where the on top of effect comes in. The duration of K63, the freeze duration of K63, the ice grenade, tip of the iceberg, light freezing arrow increases to 3 seconds. Now, previously it was only to 2 seconds. Now, if you have a 5 stars start out, you will actually be able to freeze your opponents up until 3 seconds. And you will be able to proc the freeze very often if you run it with the right synergy. Now, that's been shown before the team. So all in all, definitely, in my opinion, the best, hands down, the best water unit, SR water unit in the game. And not even as an SR unit, she is, if you want to rate her in a tier list, right, with S being the highest and D being the lowest, she's definitely an S tier character. When it comes to Cerberus fights, she is hands down an S tier character. She is SR, she's easily to acquire, she is low to build in terms of investment, in terms of an SSR unit, because obviously you don't have to spend any SS stones. Essentially, you could run her even at 0 dupes. However, duped up, she's much better. She deals loads of damage, has very good break effectiveness, does a lot of damage with her ultimate up from her third dupe, and her freeze is just so nice, right? If you run her on the side, right, during story, and you're running Jingwu as main with the freeze book, right, you'll be able to deal a lot of damage, and you'll probably be immobilizing the enemies left, right, and center because of the freeze continuity, right? So hands down, definitely the best SR water unit in the game, definitely one of the best DPSs in the game, completely support units. And for Cerberus, she is S tier, definitely, up until we get to know what Alicia's kit will be and how she will be structured. Up until then, she is definitely S tier, and even then she will be still S tier because running Alicia, running her, and running Seo Jiwoo will be the most broken team for Cerberus. My name is Simbos, thanks for tuning in, take care of yourselves, until next time.